Welcome to Mythbusters Dyslexia Edition. My name is Dr. Catherine Garforth from Garforth Education.
Hi, I'm Faith Borkowski, High Five Literacy and Academic Coaching. I'm a certified dyslexia practitioner.
Today we are taking the time to debunk some of these myths surrounding dyslexia. Dyslexia can be outgrown. This is definitely a myth because while you may be able to teach a dyslexic so that they can read and they can read at an appropriate grade level, that's not necessarily going to fix all the other issues or problems related to dyslexia. For example, someone with dyslexia may still continue to struggle with their phonological awareness and the ability to discriminate between similar words in rapid progression. And even when they're trying to retrieve words, they may, make subtle mistakes and say Craig instead of Greg, or Braden instead of Brandon. Things like this that are common and happen, and people just think it's an intelligence thing, when really it's not. It's part of their dyslexia.
Yeah, absolutely. So just what you said, such children could have these words in their head. And then by the time it comes out twisted or not the word that they intended to use, but it sounds similar. So that's what comes out. And for somebody who doesn't know, like you said, that person could assume, oh, that person doesn't have a very good vocabulary or doesn't understand because they're using the words incorrectly. But really, they have the words, they just can't seem to process those sounds and get it out in the right order. So it's a very good point.
Yeah. And children or individuals with dyslexia, even though they can read, there may be issues with reading fluency. And while they can read and decode and comprehend and understand what they are reading, it'll take them longer to do that. And they can take away all the information that they need to, and that a non-dyslexic individual would get from the text. It just takes them longer. And we see these issues when people are asked to read test information and testing. So that's why individuals with dyslexia will often get the accommodation of time and a half or the use of a reader for assignments and reading textbooks. They'll get an audio version of the text, not because they can't read the text, but the time that it would take them to read it is extenuate, it's so much longer than it would be for another person. So it's more efficient for the support. And even when it comes to reading subtitles in movies or reading text in a PowerPoint presentation, they don't have the time to process it. There are other things that you don't outgrow, and it is a neurobiological disorder, right? So it's a brain-based disorder, and it has to do with your ability to retrieve things and organize things, talk about things. And these are things that aren't going to go away. And yes, when you finish high school and formal education, you may be able to select a path for your life that doesn't highlight these areas of struggle, but it doesn't mean that they still don't exist.
Yeah, so I could tell you that a lot of kids with dyslexia, they go into different careers where they don't have to constantly read or write. They go into careers that maybe are more artistic, creative, putting things together, architects or engineers, where they're able to kind of see the big picture. And so you will see, some of that is true, where you will see kids who will gravitate to those careers. However, I want to say that is a myth that those kids are only able to do those things. Because, for instance, my publisher, Don Wynn, who published Failing Students of Failing Schools, A Parent's Guide to Reading Instruction and Intervention, is dyslexic himself. And he is an author of children's books and a publisher. And yes, does he need some help perhaps with editing? um, and you know, pointing out certain things that maybe other people would not have trouble with, perhaps, but he is extremely creative and could put together a great story, and he's a writer. So, and there are others out there who also choose writing as a career, even though you would think that those people would shy away from something like that. So, although I would say more people will go into careers that do not highlight their difficulties, there are some people who fight their way through it and stick with it and just get help when they need help.
Exactly. And the main point that we're trying to get across here is that dyslexia is not outgrown and it's not cured. So please try to avoid saying those things to an individual with dyslexia, because it's a way of saying, oh, you're fixed and we don't care if you still experience it. Like we're considering you better.